So, in the spirit of talking about content, since we're here in my new studio, I kind of want to run through strategies to theoretically double your business using your phone, post it on social media, adding theoretically in there. I don't want to make guarantees, be quite litigious here. So, we're going to go through kind of a quick overview, once again, of how those social media platforms work, how to add value to actually get recognized on the platform, how to find your voice to then build your brand, what the heck's the deal with podcasts. And then I don't think we'll have time, but we'll kind of run through some examples of content. And throughout the presentation, if you have a question, feel free to interrupt. Otherwise, I'll just keep on talking for all of eternity. So if you have a question, just interrupt me. Or if you want to share something or something that's worked for you or a different perspective, feel free to hop in. So the first question is, who do you guys follow on social media, kind of in the business world or in your personal lives, and why do you follow them? Yeah. It sounds like the commonality between everybody that we decide to follow is that they provide some sort of value, whether it's business tips or entertainment, like watching Mr. Beast, as Brian probably does. And so kind of like the first pillar of how these algorithms work is if you can make Mark money, that is to keep people on his platform, he'll keep showing your stuff to the world. Because all these platforms, the algorithms are complex and they're changing, but at the end of the day, all of these social media companies are companies interested in making money. And if your content is so addicting that you keep coming back to watch videos about contractors or Mr. Beast videos or listening to audiobooks, whatever it is, if your content keeps people on a platform, they will keep pushing it out to more and more people. And kind of the renaissance in the past few years especially is with short form content. So back in the day, there was I hear of these things called blogs and newspapers, and you actually read things back in the day. And yeah, on paper somehow, I don't even know that still exists. But with video, it's the most addicting form of content. It keeps people on platforms the longest, and that's why everybody's rotting their brains on TikTok. And I stayed up way too late last night scrolling. Even making video doesn't make me immune from being addicted to it. But kind of the three different ways that you can provide value, which is to say, like, earn people's attention, because when you're scrolling, the things that you stop provide some sort of value. So kind of the first thing that we talked about is education. Are you learning something about building? Are you learning something about business? Are you learning something about sales? Are you learning how to knit, how to tie a tie, whatever it is? There's more of the entertainment side, which is you're looking at a Mr. Beast video and you want to know, is somebody going to win the $1 million prize? And you watch 4 videos later. Is it something funny? A lot of times social media will pop off with something funny. And then also inspiration. And I think especially in the business world, there's a lot of those, how did you get started in business? You were broke in college and you put all of your money into your business and now you've built it up. Or in fitness, you look at body transformations or see those crazy Red Bull videos and think maybe I could do that one day. But first get life insurance from Brian if you're going to be doing crazy things. And so, yeah. And then sometimes content, and this is kind of why it's a pyramid, is you can be all the way in the corner of inspiration. You can be in the middle where you're having all three. You can be at the bottom between inspiration and entertainment. You can be providing just education. It's less of like, can you do only one of the things, but can you do a multiple of those things? But at the end of the day, you have to give people a reason to keep on watching your stuff and take time out of their day, because social media views are not kind of a charity engagement. And how to convey all of that value. I was way too hungry when I made this PowerPoint presentation, was looking up delicious burgers. So if you have the best sales tip on planet Earth, but the first minute of your video is talking about how boring your morning was and how your dog didn't want to go to the bathroom or whatever, like, people aren't going to sit through a minute of that and then find the sales tip. So you want some sort of hook, which is a preview of the value. It can be something along the lines of, this is the number one sales tip that I've used to grow my business, or my mentor told me this piece of sales or this sales tip, and it's changed my business. You can also have a visual hook, which is if you start out right away with a joke or there's something funny on screen, that first 2 seconds, there needs to be some sort of, yeah, this is actually worth scrolling past, or else people are going right past. And then you can kind of have that main message. Is that the funny joke? Is that the inspiration? Is that the education? Whatever it is, You need that juicy patty. And then once you've earned people's time from time to time, you want to then encourage them to take the next step, whether that's get a quote or go to my website to book an appointment, whatever it is. Almost every piece of content you think, like Mr. Beast videos, he talks about what's the challenge that we're about to do. So you're like, I got to figure out who's going to make it. And then you spend 20 minutes rotting your brain. And then the call to action is go buy my Feastable candy bars or whatever. So whatever type of value you're providing, it's going to be loosely in this story arc, in this burger format, the same way that in third grade they teach you how to write a paragraph of intro sentence, the body, sentences, and then the conclusion. And so then how do you get this stuff after you've hooked one person into your content? How do you get that to get shown around? You kind of need one or multiple of these factors, which is one relevant. If you're talking about the stock market or interest rates from 2 years ago, that's not really helpful because it's not relevant. Or if it's something relatable, especially in business, like this is this struggle that I have, or if you've ever messed up the wiring in your house and your circuit keeps breaking, something relatable, or shareable, something funny. But all of these things are kind of part of a conversation. The number one lead indicator of a post doing well that I've seen is the comment section, either saying this was a great tip, or I have another question, or this is exactly what I've been going through. The comment section I've always found to be that lead indicator, which is a sign that your piece of content is a conversation. And the last part of kind of finding your voice is that there's a million mortgage folks out there. And if you regurgitate the same talking points that all of your competitors are using, or if you're a lawyer talking about generic lawyer things that every lawyer is going to do, I could follow anybody else on the planet. So think like, why would somebody want to follow you specifically? Do you have a unique backstory? Do you have a unique take on how you do business, on how you do roofs, on how you build homes? Is there a unique set of knowledge? Do you have a degree? Do you have a certification? Have you learned something? And of course, your personality. Like shooting with Brian's content, the first 2 episodes of reaction content, he was a little bit nervous, kind of just reacting to what's on screen. And then now every time that we shoot, he's cracking jokes. He has his own commentary that he throws on top. A recurring theme is that he hates truckers in the winter on I-70. Is now something that people know him on TikTok for. It's like he could be any insurance agent, but people comment on the fact that he wants to get truckers off of the road on I-70 when there's 2 feet of snow. So can you have a unique angle for the value that you're providing, for the knowledge that you're providing? And so you're thinking, can I provide some sort of value? Can I format that type of value? Can I make that value that's going to start a conversation? And can I make it unique to me so that I stand out? So we'll go through kind of a few examples of watching content, and then we'll talk about podcasts. But any questions, any commentary before we kind of go into showing what all of this looks like in practice? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you hate watching people? Yeah. Is it Justin Lass? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where that goes into the hook, which is if you see Seth Godin on a TikTok, you're going to stop because you know that every time you stop, there's some sort of value. And so in kind of building the brand on social media, whether it's a particular just your face. And so some other examples of content, we'll pull up Brad, the insurance guy here, with Nate. So Brian's asking a question that a lot of people might be wondering. If I step on a nail in my yard, can I sue Nate? And then Nate's answer, and we throw all this crazy editing on top, but this is something you could easily do at a job site. A client asks you a question about a deck that you're building, pull out your phone and go, a lot of people are wondering how much does it cost per square foot on average for a deck? Or so how do we actually put a hot tub on a deck? Show what you're talking about, ignore all this editing, and get it up there on social media. So you have this visual hook of guys doing donuts in a company truck. Brian's commentary on, I don't know if the boss would be happy. And then this turned out to be a whole conversation on social media because apparently this was some famous rally and people knew the owner. And we knew it was going to do well after everybody kept commenting, everybody kept sharing. Like that's an example of a conversation. Another great piece of content is if you see something on social media and you're like, I absolutely hate this, instead of just hate commenting, figure out a way to monetize it by play the video and then give your own thoughts about why that's complete bullshit. Or why you agree and that's actually worked for you. There's a great feature on Instagram where and TikTok, you press a button and go to sequence, and you just clip the part that you want. It'll prompt you to just record right off of your phone, and a minute later, after seeing the worst decking advice on planet Earth, you can be correcting it out there. Or the worst advice on investing as a solopreneur, whatever it is. You bottom right corner, 3 dots, press sequence, and you're off to the races making content. Another example of a piece of content was I put this out on my personal Instagram, just hiking a mountain, filmed on my phone, and this has done 250,000 views. This was edited on my phone, shot on my phone, kind of just showing, and that's me fake talking to my laptop. I didn't have any meetings that day, but just shot and edited right from my phone. So whether you're reacting to content or you're answering questions, like this one here, also a fake comment, but the great thing if people comment on your social media, instead of taking time out of your day to comment, open your phone, all these platforms, instead of just replying, you can do a video reply. Just give your thoughts on the question, and whether it's reaction content or reacting to content or reacting to comments or filming things on your phone, the apps that you might want to consider downloading are trending stuff can do well. I tend to find that unless you're really good at doing TikTok dances or you're some supermodel that people are just staring at with lust, a lot of those trends, they do an average amount, and from time to time they radically pop off. But also if you're looking for what you can do and you don't want to give roofing advice, you can just dance to TikTok songs. CapCut, it's an actually free just editing software on your phone. It is now back in action, but I don't even use the paid version of CapCut. Like, that is a place to add captions. They have great templates. If you're not sure what to post and you're like, what should I be posting? You have templates where you literally just drag and drop your footage right into it, and 5 minutes later, you're posting something on the platform. Like, theoretically, if you're making content on your phone, a few pieces a week should take 10, 15 minutes maybe per week, and then you're going to stay top of mind. So those are kind of the apps to look at. Or if you're even lazier than downloading CapCut, Instagram and TikTok have native editors right inside of there to just pull out your phone. And yes, you will look awkward on camera, and yes, you will hate how you sound, and yes, you'll probably make some sort of mistake, but you're not sending to the Super Bowl, and people really don't care enough or watch you enough to criticize you if you make one mistake on how you pronounce something, and you will get better over time. So ChatGPT here, I just said, I run a roofing company and need 10 TikTok script ideas. And here it's typing out, spot the problem challenge. Film a short video showing a roof with an obvious problem. Caption, can you spot what's wrong with this roof? And follow it up by explaining how your company fixes it. And then I might say, I don't know what editing software to use. Walk me through every step to edit a video. And then you can say, I got stuck in how do I add captions? Like, essentially talk to ChatGPT as your personal content genius. And great thing, because it's pulling from the internet, it can give you ideas. It can also give you tutorials on how to do things. And if you're stuck in Instagram. And the last thing to do is, what the hell are you supposed to do with the podcast? So really the secret of podcasts is, as Gary Vee calls them, people are attention whores. Meaning that podcasts, first and foremost, are a great networking tool. You get a lot of time in front of people that you wouldn't normally get time with. Like Zeke from the Leads group, he just did an hour-long episode with a guy who builds space hotels, and they do a few $1 million a year. He's talking to an investor that's building hotels in 1,000-year-old castles. He's talking to guys that own $30 and $400 million worth of real estate, all these influencers. He's getting an hour of FaceTime with them because he has a podcast. It doesn't do crazy views, but it's a great networking tool. Another great thing is kind of staying top of mind, like a holding pattern. So with Brian and I's new podcast, that's where we get to plug. Go to just mountainentrepreneur.com. Just started doing these interviews. We have 4 episodes in the queue. One is just with Nancy. We got Jonathan here. We got Brian and myself, of course. We don't ever intend to scale it to a million bajillion views. I mean, that would be nice. But to stay top of mind for both of our businesses, for local business owners, we don't need people from North Carolina watching or people from India watching. Even if we only get a dozen downloads every episode, those are businesses that we can work with. And the software that I always recommend is called Riverside. It's like Zoom, but if it were actually good. And all you do, this is like Zeke's account here. He just gets on, he uses his webcam, he doesn't use any fancy equipment. And same thing, his guests all across the country or in person also go right on there, and it's $10, $15 a month, and he does 2-3 episodes a month, essentially just a Zoom conversation. On the back end, I do all the editing and stuff, but they do have AI editing software in there. So if you're wanting to start your own podcast for $15, go to Riverside and essentially have Zoom conversations. It'll walk you through all of the steps. And then also with podcasts is clips, and more clips, because nobody actually cares about listening to your entire full episodes. I run a channel not related to business, and we just did 4,000 downloads in the first, 50 days. And really all those views come from short pieces of clip that, once again, I'm using AI to edit. So it's kind of the deal with podcasts. And so that's kind of the crash course on theoretically doubling or some juicy number your business with content that you can do just on your phone or by yourself. Or if you want a professional to come in and do it, use an awesome studio. That's where this whole shebang comes in. And that brings us, look at that, directly 9 o'clock on the dot. So